Good girls. And see how I'm just kind of taking a couple steps at a time and letting them relax? I'm not being super demanding of these horses right now. I just want them to pay attention to me. That's all I want. I just want them to stop and pay attention. I don't want to go up and catch them. I got the halter. I plan on catching one of them and riding them. But right now, we're working on this. See, Phil's coming out there. That's exactly what I want. She's not coming to me, and that's fine. That's fine. She just came out. That's all I can ask for. I'm fixing this avoidant behavior in these horses just by where I place my body and just by going, hey, stop. Look at me. Just like I did with Cricket. Hey, look at me. And then Cricket became a prime example. I wish every horse was like Cricket in that scenario, going from completely avoidant of me and wanting to run off and stirring up everything else to being the first one out of the herd, walking right up to me. I wish they were all like that, but they're not. But I got their attention. Now they're not running off and running around, and that's fine. It's fine that these girls are just standing here, and that's all I can ask for them. They're paying attention to me, and when I say woo, they stop and stand. See, Reba's being a little bit, she's backing off there, so I kind of moved my body to stop her, let her know woo. There's Phil being avoidant, turning away. So we're just going to move my body around and to where I could position her to pay attention to me. That's all I want. And you see her attempts to dart aren't as, dramatic and gotta do it, like make a mad dash. It's, oh, okay. Stop and pay attention. This is how you get a hard horse that's hard to catch, easy to catch. Just doing stuff like this. When you go out into a pasture and notice all the horses run off away from you. Thank you for photobombing, Cricket. Cricket. Thank you. I know you're pretty, but I need to continue showing people what I mean. But Cricket, just like I said, she's been a prime example of just the way you position your body. You don't have to run them around, get them worked up. Just the way that you go about handling your body and your body language with them means a lot. Right there, Phil's turning right at me, so I'm just going to walk back here to Cricket and give Cricket some attention. Not to try to make her jealous or anything, but just to show her, hey, you turned and you paid attention to me. I'm going to leave you alone. And Phil is definitely the hardest one out of all of these horses. Reba can get pretty worked up and run around, but Reba generally knows when I ask her to whoa and stop, you whoa and stop. You see Reba's licking and chewing now. I'm going to stick my hand out here. Look at that. Not a drop of sweat on this horse's body. Now we're going to walk out here because Reba's being avoidant. Keep her back in there. Yes, Cricket, you are a star student. We realize that. You see there? You're going to have to run these horses around for 45 minutes, and I already got it to where I could have put a halter on either one of those girls at that point in time. But I'm not worried about haltering them. I'm worried about training them. Let's see here if we can get... It doesn't take much to ask Cricket to come out. You just move your body a little bit out in front of her. Just that signal of... Here. It's like a friggin' border collie that you just go... I can't even whistle. And that thing comes running. That's what Cricket's like right now. Now here, when I go in to approach Reba, like I said, I know my horses. You notice I'm now complete. My attention went from Cricket, all on Cricket, because she was the instigator. And now I'm just basically ignoring her because you could see that she's got it. She knows what I'm asking. Phil, she was my next main focus because Phil has learned from previous owners that I can run people over, I can kick people, I can bite people, and I can run away, all to be avoided, to not be caught and be left alone from previous owners. So Phil is my next goal because she has learned bad and dangerous habits from people to not be caught. So if I'm going in, I already pet on Phil, and now my next focus is, all right, let's go pet on Reba. Phil, if I see her go to be extremely avoidant by running off around me, I'm gonna try to block her and get her back over here just to keep her attention on me, because Reba's pretty good. Reba's really good. Cricket can run off that way right now, and I'd be like, whatever, go and do what you want to do. You've already given me more than what I've asked for. Phil, because she's been taught those habits, I don't want to reinforce the habit of her being able to run off and be left alone, because she's been taught that. Reba knows that it doesn't matter if you're in a tiny little pasture like this or a 600-acre pasture. When mom comes out and says, whoa, you will. And you stand there. Whereas Phil has gotten away with habits, and I don't want to reinforce those habits, dangerous habits that she has learned. Yes, you are a star student, huh, baby girl? So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Reba to step forward to about there. So that way, when I approach Reba, I'm not putting pressure on Phil to push her forward and encourage her to have a bad habit and run off around. So by pushing Reba forward with my body, like I said, Reba knows. She knows right there when I did this, I was asking her to move forward. Versus if I were to just go woo and walk up to her, walk up and pet her. So because Reba is so good at knowing when to get out of my space and move off of my pressure and stand to be caught, I'm using that to my advantage to keep Phil from being reinforced of bad habits. She's learned to run off. Ooh. And so I don't want her to learn to stay. See right here? She's running off. So I'm just leaving Reba and I'm just going, hey, no. You're not going to learn that bad habit and keep that bad habit. So now I'm going to walk up to her since she stopped and faced me. Just good girl. Just like that. That's all I want. And so I used Reba and her knowledge and her experience to my advantage there to prevent Phil, because if I would have walked towards Reba, see, like right now, Cricket's behind Reba. If I were to walk towards Cricket, my body pressure is telling Reba to move off and forward, just by what she's learned. I'm not catching Reba, so she's getting out of my space so I can catch another horse. So I used her experience to my advantage to prevent Phil from being reinforced from those bad behaviors that she's learned from previous owners. And you could see how it worked to my advantage, even though Phil still kind of started to walk out. All it took for me to stop her was, and then I walked up to her and pet her and left her alone. But you could see here all of these horses, even this colt. Let's see here if I can walk up to this colt. He's still pretty wary of people, and that's okay. It's fine. Like I said, he's basically a Mustang that's out of registered stock. He was born and raised just like a Mustang. I'm not going to expect him to let me walk up to him and pet him, but getting his attention onto me. Now Cricket's kind of starting to be a little bit of a nuisance because she's being such a star student. Getting his attention on me while controlling the herd. And since he doesn't know any better, I might do things to guy. There we go. Got his attention. That's all I want. He turned and looked at me. That's all I want. That's how it starts out. It doesn't start out, with like it did with Cricket. It doesn't start that way. But it starts out with the, I see you. Okay, that's all I want. When I walk out here and I say, hey, Hey, I'm here. I want you to go. Hey, watch. Hey, I'm here. Hey. Hey. Let's get his attention. All right, that's all I want. I'm here. Look at me. That's all it starts out as. So that way, these horses learn, just like Cricket, that, you know, if I'm going out this way, and then I go, hey, I'm here. Look at that. My body language went from, I don't care what you do, you're fine, to pay attention to me. And what happened? She walked right up to me. That's what I want. It goes from, you know, I'm looking and paying attention to this horse. Wait. Hey. Look at that. I wish every horse was like that. I honestly do. That's pretty cool. You know, she knows I'm not paying attention to her right now. I don't care what she does. You can go run off over there if you want. You can go eat. You can go roll in your own poop. I don't care what you do. But as soon as I go from, let's focus on these horses, to pay attention to me, she's paying attention. She goes, all right. She's like, what are you doing there? She goes, all right, what do you want, Mom? What do you need of me, even now that I just spooked her? What do you need me to do? Do you need to be caught? Do you need me to just stand here? That's what I want. Little star student, you. Oh, it's okay. Now she's all tense. See what I mean by she's not very confident in herself? All right. Go out here. There's that colt's eyes. You did not see that because Cricket's in the way. Move out of the way, girl. And see my body language? You couldn't see my body, but I just walked towards her and said, get out of the way. I didn't stop and go, hey, you know, pay attention. It was, please move. And she moved. That was great. But right there, I got that colt's attention and I walked away. His head was over Reba's back and he wasn't paying attention like it is now. Watch this. Sometimes with the green horses, I'll make some noise and stuff, snap my fingers and cluck a little bit. And see, he's putting his ears forward. Just kind of move my feet around. There we go. That's all I want. Right there. That's all I can ask for. That, hey, what are you doing? That's all I want. What are you? You. Hey, you. And it's just like, you. 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 That's what I want. You. Reba. Ooh. Ooh. That's what I want. Walk right up to her. You. Phil. Woo. My body language. Hey. Woo. Good girl. You see, I could pick out my horses and they know what to do. All the others said they don't. Her body language said, get out of my space. Phil even knew right there. See right here, I'm going to let her kind of trot off. But I'm just going to turn around and make him go back this way. And now that I got the advantage of Cricket and Reba's attention, they're not worked up anymore. That's going to be my advantage here. See, like right here, cut them both off. Cut her from the herd. And that's okay. You know, sometimes I'll try to cut them off, but right there is a perfect example of Phil learning that she can run past people. Being fat and pregnant doesn't work in my advantage. Ooh. Good girl, Cricket. Such a good girl. Cricket's making a very valiant effort at this. And that's great. And if I could get Phil to make a quarter of the effort that Cricket makes, besides her excellent photo bombing, see my body language there, I was able to move Cricket from 15 feet away because she was in my way. You couldn't see what I was doing. My body language, see right here, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm letting her go down the fence. I pushed her out. Reba knew to stay. Just like that. Ooh. Good girl. See if I can get her to walk up to me. She usually does pretty good when I ask her to. Ooh. And see right here, I'm not going to mess around. The other horses are leaving. I wanted her to walk up to me. And see, now I'm just going to pet and love on her. Good girl. But she's kind of worried about the other horses going to the other side, and that's fine. And so what I'll do here, instead of Colt, the other horses went to the other end of the pasture and she's worried about them. So instead of right there, letting her go and then her turning around and running to the other horses, I am putting the rope around her neck. And I'm going to take her to the other horses. Show her I don't need to separate you from them. I don't need to take you from them. Everything is perfectly okay and fine. And so what I'll do when I come over here is I'm just going to turn her towards this way. Make sure she holds. Don't just let her run off, because that just encourages that bad behavior. There we go. She may not have been turning and paying attention to me, but she took her focus off those horses and I walked off, and you could see that she just walks off too. And that's what I was looking for. Stuff like that you could see with Cricket here. Just like I said, she was the instigator, and I guarantee you, I bet you I could draw her out. My body language came out in front of her, and I clucked. She knows that I'm talking to her. Look at her, stopping and checking. Look at that. Went from being the instigator and running off to where I could draw her out of the herd up to me. And she is not a confident horse. She's not the leader. She's not independent. She relies on other horses for her safety, for her comfort. She's coming out of her comfort zone to me because she has confidence in me. If I would have came out here, see, she's not a confident horse. She's just jumpy and watchy, and that's okay. But she is comfortable enough with me to leave her buddies and come to me. Because I didn't come out here and run her around. I didn't come out here and say, if you want to run, let's run. It was all just, hey, no, pay attention to me. Hey, you can run around and goof off. Stop, look at me. Okay, bye. That's all I wanted. Stuff like that you could see. Phil, she's got a lot of bad habits that she's learned. She's going to take a lot more work than Cricket and Reba, who have learned from the beginning to, hey, okay, you know. She's learned that she can be dangerous and be left alone, and she still thinks that's okay. But they feel fresh. But I'm not going to turn around and go, all right, let's run around for 147 minutes and get you all worked up into a lathered sweat. Because a horse, especially like Cricket and like Reba and in the green colt, the only horse in this pen right now that might benefit is Phil. Because Phil is a more lazy horse. She is very just whatever. And she doesn't like to get in a rush and pick up her feet, and you gotta kind of make her do that. The only horse in this pen that would benefit making him run around is Phil. She'd eventually get tired and go, fine, do what you want. And then you catch her and she's gonna be fine. She's just gonna be a little sweated up. She's gonna be fine. But running these horses around in here, it's not gonna benefit Cricket, because Cricket, she's not a confident horse. All that's going to do is get her to where she's going to be more watchy and more difficult. She's just going to be even more insecure about herself and you. Cricket's the type of horse that needs to be confident in her rider, in her handler. And if you get her worked up and don't let her know that she can be, she's not going to be. And so all that does is make it, if I were to ride her today, make my ride more difficult, more likely that she's going to blow up and buck on me over something stupid. It's not going to help Reba, because Reba, she's kind of a hotter horse. She's more sensitive. And all that's going to do is make her more stubborn and more flighty acting. Not that she's necessarily not confident. She's plenty confident and she's plenty independent. But that just shows her we're going to butt heads right off the start. And it's going to make my ride for the first 15 minutes more difficult. It's not going to benefit the colt in any way, shape, or form, because right now, with me working with this colt, I want him to know that he can have confidence in me, that I am capable of taking care of him, and he doesn't have to be afraid of me. So chasing him around the pen until he's louder than a sweat, all that's going to do is reassure his fears in people. You know, if you chase him around like a freaking wolf, a predator, and make him more worked up and scared, that all that does is reassure that colt's fears in people. So the only horse in this pen out of 4 of these horses, 3 of them being dang good seasoned ranch horses, the only one that it would benefit maybe is Phil. But even then, it's not a benefit to her. It would get her tired and it would get her caught. But in the future, all it would do is that teach her that immediately when you walk into the pen, if she wants to run away, she can. So it's not going to make it easier for next time. All it's going to do is make it harder for next time, because she learned that she can run from one end of the pen to the other until she decides that she wants to be caught. You know, it might benefit and get her caught for today, and it's not going to affect my ride, but tomorrow when I come out to catch her, it's going to affect it.